right, welcome back, guys. Are you ready to have some fun during the 2020 Hack the NAB Show? This is going to be so much fun. Now we are going to HuddleCamHD, and we're waiting for our lead engineer to join us, Matthew Davis. We have two new products that we're going to show off. It's going to be a lot of fun, and let's jump right into it. So first of all, we've got two cameras here. One of them I've actually got set up on this monitor right here. This is the brand new HuddleCamHD ePTZ webcam. So this webcam is, I'm going to flip it around actually so people can see the back real quick. This webcam has USB and HDMI. So it comes with a clamp mount, so you can clamp this directly to any monitor. But you can see on the bottom there, it's also got an awesome, what is it called? Quarter 20 tripod mount. So let me show this to you in a little better detail right here. This is the NDI version. So there's two versions of these webcams. The price is just $4.99, so they're very affordable. You'll see why they're so powerful in a moment. It's basically like having a PTZ camera in the form factor of a webcam, because these cameras have ePTZ built in. And what that means is they have electronic pan tilt zoom. So they're built with a 4K image sensor, and you gain the ability to zoom in. In fact, Mike, let's go ahead and show what you were just showing there. That's totally fine. This is basically, now go ahead and show them the zoom PTZ control. So in the bottom right, and I think you've got to move the little talking thing there, but in the bottom right of zoom right now, Mike has the ability to control this camera directly through Zoom video conferencing. So this is so cool because Zoom is generally 720p. So Zoom is a 720p software. It doesn't hardly ever go over 720p for video conferencing purposes. So that means you can zoom in 3x. All right, 3 times with lossless digital zoom with the PTZ camera with lossless PTZ. Guess who just joined us? Our lead engineer, Matthew Davis, who's going to tell us a little bit more. I think, Matt, you've got one of these cameras too, don't you?
Yeah, I definitely do. Well, somewhere in my myriad of cameras that I'm all kind of staring at the moment. But yeah, so these ePTZ cameras are really exciting. For anybody who doesn't know, this is something we've kind of been working on, sadly, longer than I'd like to admit, like 5 or 6 years now at this point. So we are super, super excited to bring this to you at this point. You know, we couldn't be more excited to be launching this.
So in a simple, phrase, what I've been saying is we've got a webcam with PTZ camera controls. It's like a PTZ camera in the form factor of a webcam. This is it right here, Matt. Why did it take so long for you to develop this? You've been working on this for years.
Yeah, because the concept sounded stupidly simple. And we went at it like this should be absolutely no problem. To which we learned that to actually create something usable that people want to look at, it took a little bit more effort than just slapping together some scaling and bouncing around an image sensor.
So one of the things I wanted to do, Matt, was do a little bit of a live demo. If you have this camera, then you could do the live demo. Do you have this camera with the remote?
No, I am currently set up on a different prototype at this point.
Gotcha. Okay, so let's go ahead and spotlight this HuddleCam camera. And I want to show people some of the menu options that are available in this camera, because it's really what makes it really kind of like a prosumer. Not this one, Michael. No, the Zoom one. Spotlight that's coming up soon. That's the PTZOptics ePTZ camera. We'll get to that in a moment. But spotlight this one right here. And what I'm going to do, because Matt, first of all, there's not many webcams that come with a remote, right?
No, that's a very rare thing. I'm actually kind of surprised, as I feel like there's a lot of advantages to having a remote with your camera, and especially with webcams, it just makes life easy.
I was on a Zoom party, kind of alumni fun time with some friends, and there it is here. And having the remote, when I zoomed in, people went, "Wait a second, did you just zoom in with Zoom? Like, how did you do that?" And I was like, "Yeah, right click my video, you can zoom it." And now I'm starting to think, you know, a teacher's assistant, a yoga instructor, a karate instructor, because these products start at just $4.99, and then giving the audience the control to Zoom is really cool. All right, it looks like we will have to remove the hacking thing there. There we go. So I wanted to show, first of all, what kind of webcams do you have the ability to adjust the exposure, the gain limit, the things of that nature, the ability to do shutter speed priority, for example? Looks like I need to open up that shutter a little bit, but to
Well, the
match.
thing is, even if a camera gives you those options, usually they make it in a way that you as an end user will never ever find. So, you know, yet again, it's making it so that it's user accessible. We're not trying to nest it behind 30 different menus so that you're never really playing with these things. We think you're all at a point where you should be able to play with these fun settings, and you should be able to improve your own broadcast because you know what you're doing. You can make your own image look amazing now.
Well, and it's funny you say that, because Elgato was just on the show, and they have LED lights that you can control with an Elgato Stream Deck. And to me, that just proves that Elgato is a consumer product company. You know, they sell for YouTube streamers and Twitch streamers, and they're mixing LED lights. And the feature I was just showing, if we can go back to that, Michael, was the ability to adjust the color temperature of this webcam to fit to match the LED lighting temperature that you're using.
Yeah.
So let's go to
and
that
it makes
really
it easy.
quickly.
So, you know, it's no longer this super secret, something professional in the background hidden. It's pretty straightforward. If you went and bought some pro lights, you can match your camera to it now at this point.
Now, in the image section, you have full control over luminance and contrast. This is what you get in a professional PTZOptics camera as well. So yes, it's nice to use these webcams with obviously color matching and tools like vmix and a TriCaster and things like that. But for a consumer, they have the ability to plug in HDMI, plug it into a monitor so they can see this full screen, and then USB for their computer to do these Zoom sessions. I was talking to a yoga instructor who said this is perfect because now they can use the USB to do their remote trainings with Zoom. And then when this coronavirus is over, they can just put that camera on top of a monitor and plug it into HDMI and just use it as an HDMI camera.
Exactly. And I think for people like that, you know, what this camera is just the beginning of what you're going to start to see that we add in as feature sets and things to make it even more user-friendly for people who are trying to accomplish these things.
So Matt, we know that there's two versions of this camera. There's a feature that I've just got to show off that this is why I think it really took you so long to build this product, is the auto framing feature. In fact, Michael, can we show my presentation? Because I want to walk through a little bit of the features of this. There's an auto framing feature of this product that's just incredible. But just to highlight here, there's the USB version, USB and HDMI. USB for web conferencing. The HDMI can be used with like an ATEM Mini or
those are 4K outputs, just to make sure we're clear.
Good point. Full 4K 30 frames per second outputs. It supports this thing called UVC control, which allows you to control the camera with Zoom and other applications like the PTZOptics camera control software. Now, ePTZ, let's spend a moment talking about this. This allows you to set camera presets. And I think we should demonstrate this really quickly because a lot of people aren't sure about it. That only works with the that one. Do you want to show that really quickly? What is a PTZ preset, Matt? And we'll kind of do a live demo.
You know, if you think about a standard PTZ camera, when you call a preset, it's physically moving from point A to point B. What goes on here with an electronic preset is maybe over here is one of my presets, maybe over here is another preset, and when you call in between them, it instantly is jumping between them because there is no need for moving parts.
So, and I really love the fact that there are no moving parts. I think that you can't stress that enough because the reliability, you know, we're thinking about maybe doing an increased warranty on these because they're going to last for so long. There's no moving parts, yet you have the ability to do a production with ePTZ presets. Mike, can we show this again? Because I want to show the actual output, and I want to show preset, because it's just so cool the way that it makes your production that much more powerful. This is really what makes this camera different. It feels like a PTZ camera, but it's not. It really acts like a digital one. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to set a couple presets really quickly. So let's say, for example, we want the widescreen. So we'll set preset 1. And you see that little preset button there, it's set. Now let's say I've got something else kind of important that I want to show off. Let's say it's the Sling Studio. Let's say it's the LiveView Solo over here. And I'm doing a business presentation, and I want to talk about this LiveView Solo. So right there, I'm going to zoom into that, and I'm going to hit preset 2. Now I have the ability to go boom preset 1, boom preset 2. Okay, and obviously we could do more. For example, let's just do one more for the heck of it. We'll come over here, we'll go up a little bit, and we'll do a little bit more of a close-up of me. And so we'll do, all right, this will be preset 3. Now I can literally go from widescreen, I'm teaching, maybe I'm doing some yoga, moving around a little bit. I've got something specific right here that I want to show. Oh, sorry, not pressing the right button there. And I want to show that. And then boom, I'm coming over here and I'm doing like a close-up presentation. So that's the power of ePTZ. Now we're showing this off in Zoom. Obviously, this could be done with an ATEM video switcher. It could be done with Skype, GoToMeeting, WebEx. It could be used with a vmix call or a wirecast rendezvous. Literally almost any recording, streaming, video conferencing software that accepts a webcam. So it really takes the webcam market to a new level. So we'll show this one more time here. Widescreen, close up, another close up. And it looks really good in Zoom because Zoom is 720p, so it allows for this type of 4K camera coming in with the digital ePTZ.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at that point, you're getting almost a 3x zoom that's completely lossless.
So we're so excited about this product. It's very interesting, and a lot of people want these. They are going to be shipping within the next couple weeks or so. I don't know if we have any shipping announcements yet, but like literally within, I would say 2 weeks. Wouldn't you say, Matt?
I'd feel pretty good with that. Obviously, everything in the world going on, we cross our fingers, but that sounds like a good estimate.
Like we literally have them like either either in this United States or in our warehouse and just being checked in. Like it's that close to shipping. We've been waiting for years. So that's why I'm like so excited. So I really wanted to show that off. Let's go back to the presentation quickly because Matt, another thing that I think honestly that took you so long was that you built 2 of these. You didn't just build 1. And it's something that you seem to really like to do. We'll get back to the auto framing, which is a big feature with this camera, but you built an NDI version of this camera. And tell me a little bit about the reason why you decided to build a completely NDI version that just goes over Ethernet.
Yeah. So a lot of the times when you get into trying to set up a webcam, you can't always put them where you want. You're often limited by, say, USB 3 cabling. So one of the beauties is company NewTek has made this amazing tool set, NDI tools. One of the tools in there is called virtual input. This virtual input lets you take any NDI camera and utilize it like a webcam. So what we've got going on here is you've now got a little webcam that you can plug in. It's powered PoE. You can put it in all sorts of locations, in corners of rooms. You know, you can capture all sorts of very, very unique shots and now bring it in as a webcam. You can still use it as an NDI source, but you know, this can be utilized as a webcam with a lot of flexibility where if I was in the IT department, this is something that I can gain some control over and actually monitor in the sense of, is it working? Is it not working? This starts to add a lot of benefits as you look at doing all sorts of unique webcam deployments.
Well, exactly. And that's where I think that this slide that we have really starts to explain, you know, so I think that only a few folks really of the whole market understand the value of IP video. It's very new, but it's totally taking over in the professional audio visual space for good reasoning. It's much easier to run an Ethernet cable 300 feet than it is to try to run USB, like you said, Matt. But it also allows for things like multicast, bringing it into any computer on your network, not just the one computer that you plugged in via USB. I get it. USB is easy. It just works. It's got some cool features like using it with Zoom, for example. But once you get it on the network, it's like, well, use it in that conference room, use it in this studio, use it over here, unplug it, bring it somewhere else. You just one single Ethernet cable.
I mean, you
It's
hit
so
on
easy.
an amazing point right there, which is, hey, this can be brought into your web conferencing solution. At the same time, you can use this for post-production of creating content. So maybe you have somebody in your department that's making an announcement about a new feature that you eventually want to make public facing. Great. You can do that via the web call with your own personal team, and then you can actually, at the same time, be bringing that into a production solution so that you can make post-production or even live content out of it at that point.
So let's go back to this slide. I've got a couple more things, and then there's this auto framing feature. I think I just briefly mentioned it, and Mr. Mustachio is already getting excited. So we will do a live demo of that. It's very, very exciting. But as far as NDI sources on your network, it could be video conferencing, it could be network video. You could remotely control this camera anywhere on your local area network. It could be used for live streaming, software, NDI studio monitors. It can even be brought into video conferencing software like Skype, GoToMeeting, WebEx, and Zoom using the NDI virtual webcam. And the NDI virtual webcam, it's only available for Windows. I hope that New Tech develops something for Mac, but it essentially allows you to bring this video, it bridges the NDI video directly into any video conferencing software. So it's so easy for companies to say, yeah, just drop 2 Ethernet cables there. Just drop the Ethernet cables there. That's going to be our video conferencing camera. And they can just, it's low latency, it's high quality. It's definitely better quality than you would need for any video conferencing. And it's not that much bandwidth. It's NDI HX. It's the high efficiency version of NDI, which on a corporate network is way more than you need. It's almost, it can be up to, I believe, 20 megabits per second, which is way more than any of the video conferencing softwares really need.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's see what else we have here for our slides. We've got that there. Now here's an example of ePTZ. You guys got a little bit of a live demo here, but you can see you've got the ability to really zoom in to these locations. And I want to show, this is the way it kind of works in a rock concert. That was the way, it kind of works in higher education with a, kind of a painting studio. But let's go to this auto framing system here. I want to show that off. And then I also want to show the zoom limits on this product. So we'll go back to our look of this webcam coming into Zoom. And I'm going to turn on the auto framing demo. So there's a demo mode with this camera that actually shows you what it's focusing on, the intelligence built into this camera. And Matt, this is something where I have to say you did such a great job. And the reason why is because ePTZ is great. But what's better than ePTZ? Having the camera be intelligent enough to make decisions about ePTZ camera control automatically. And so when we go to, and I was going to look at this for a second, you see that zoom limit was at 1 to 3. We're going to change that. What does that say there? 1 to 8? 1 to 4? I want to go 1 to 8 because I want to show how good the zoom can be. We only had that on 1 to 3. Here's the auto framing. Is that it right there? I can't see from here. Oh, sorry. Let me pull this up a little easier to see. Okay, here it is. Auto framing is off, 2 up. So I'm going to turn on the demo mode really quickly. So now you're going to be able to see this camera actually output what it's seeing. So you see the box around my face? It's seeing me. And this is what the technology inside of it is looking for. Tell us a little bit about this tech, Matt. What is this doing?
Yeah, so we have some products where we deployed very similar technology, and we were actually in the midst of designing this camera as we worked on that technology and realized what an amazing pairing it would be for a non-moving parts camera to actually not require you to interface with the remote very much either. So what we did here was we had it, so it's basically doing a very basic facial recognition. The main thing it's looking for is eyes and a nose. It uses a mouth as a backup. And it's going to sit there and it's going to look at who's in the room, how many faces it's seen, and then it will try to actually frame everybody it sees. Even if it looks like it's getting a little foam pad as, face, which can happen. But that's also why this demo mode exists. If you're having any odd problems, this lets you know what the camera's seeing as a face.
Okay, so now I've turned it on, and now we're actually going to see it automatically zoom in. So it's going to actually use the information to zoom in. And so you see it was seeing Mike and it's seeing me. So it's actually kind of used the information that it has to frame us automatically. So I moved over a little bit, said, all right, well, we're going to frame you in. If I move over close to Michael, it's going to frame us in. So this is really good for conference rooms, meeting rooms, podcasters, people who, want the camera to intelligently use that 4K image sensor, but to crop it into either 1080 or 720. And Matt, I assume that's why you built in these zoom limits so that you can have, you can kind of restrict what it does with the auto framing.
Yeah, I mean, another way almost to look at the zoom limits with something like this would almost be like a resolution limit. So, really when you tell it 2x, you're telling it it's limited to 1080p as lossless. When you go to a 3x limit, you're telling it 720p lossless zoom. So, really it's almost like a resolution limit more than even a zoom limit.
I see what you're saying, and now I think it's worthwhile to go to this other area of doing some more presets. But now you can see we're getting in a lot closer to these products because now we have the 8x zoom levels. So you just depends on what you're doing. You can limit it. So we looked at the wide angle, the close up. That's a close up at 720p. But then if we go to this one, now we're going a little further. Now we're probably at like, what would you say, like 480 by 360?
576. Yeah, either 576 or 480 probably at this point.
And that's fine. When you're using zoom, that's generally what you're getting anyway. So it's really effective to be able to use these presets. And again, it's a PTZ camera really built into the form factor of a webcam. So just to kind of focus on this for a second, Matt, let's talk a little bit more about NDI and what that means. And I also wanted to talk about maybe some of the potential hacks that customers can use with this. Gary Batan was on a little earlier. He was talking about using this NDI camera with the Bird Dog Cloud. I could see folks using this with NDI Studio Monitor, whether they're on a Mac or a PC. In the NDI world, I think there's a lot of hacks, but you tell me, what do you think people are going to hack more, the USB or the NDI version?
Oh, I definitely think the NDI version. I don't even think there's a question about it. I think now there's so many cool things that you can do with NDI. I think I'm going to boil this down to actually one that is so basic, but I don't think people really realize they can do with these cameras. So the USB camera is awesome, but like we've talked about, if you want to take that 300 feet, that's kind of a problem. So what you actually can do, I don't know if people know this, but with NDI, you can directly plug an NDI camera into an available network port on your PC. You don't necessarily need to go through a network. So with this camera, you actually can get, if you don't have an available NIC, you can just buy a simple USB to network adapter, plug it directly into your PC, and you can be using NDI right away. It's almost like having a 300-foot USB extension solution available to you.
So everyone keeps asking about the availability. These are going to be available. It's not like they're sold out. They are coming in and going to be sold. So it's worthwhile. People, Fareed is asking, is there a 3-pack? Is there a 5-pack? Epiphan is saying he could think of quite a few people who could use an NDI webcam. And this is really the very first NDI webcam. So Matt, it took you a couple years. I'm sure there'll be a Gen 2 at some point. This is the very first version, but it seems like you checked off all of the boxes. Was there anything in the development of this product that you wanted to get in that you couldn't? That you said, I wanted to put this in, but we had to get it going?
Yeah, there was only one thing. I really wanted to get HDMI on the NDI model as well, and it just wasn't in the cards, unfortunately. So that is the only thing at the end of this, getting this product ready for everybody to start playing with. The only thing that I wish I could have done for everyone.
Well, that's something that I agree would also be amazing because the NDI version has Ethernet, obviously. And so
Mhm.
this version works with the IP controller. It works with the iOS app. It works with vmix. It works with Wirecast. Any one of the many, many companies that we work with PTZOptics that has IP control built into their product will control this. Only a
Mhm.
few companies, now vmix is included in this, and a few others have UVC control, meaning the ability to control the camera with USB. So this
Yeah.
Ethernet makes this very easily controllable, that you can control this with the Elgato Stream Deck. So if the HDMI was there, it could become a really easy product to use with HDMI to a ATEM Mini and then Ethernet. But I know you'll make I know you will make a next upcoming solution. So
Oh yeah. There's always another generation on its way. It might be a couple years, but it, I'm sure we'll start.
So we talked about some hacks here. The other great thing about the NDI version is it does have open source control software. So we've got that HTTP commands. The other thing that it works with that we're going to see today, by the way, Matt, is the Twitch extension that was built for PTZ cameras. And PTZOptics created a Twitch extension that allows creators to give their audience the ability to zoom a camera in and pan tilt, even charge bits to do that. But today, and you'll see this in just about a half hour or so, when we do a Twitch raid to Crash Coke's channel, I'm going to pay $10 in bits, and it's going to kick him out of his video game that he's playing. It is going to zoom the camera into him, and it is going to allow the chat to vote whether or not the video keeps playing or the video turns off. So he's using our HTTP commands with a PTZOptics camera to do something really cool. I could see lots of Twitch streamers and folks who understand how to hack, their current setup to use the IP control on the NDI camera to do some amazing things.
Oh, definitely. And you hit on a point here. We worked very hard to make sure that even though this is a Huddlecam product, the stuff that's already been built for our sister company, PTZOptics, should, from a software perspective, a control perspective, all be interoperable with each other.
Recording. All right. Well, we have a little bit more time left, Matt. So I'm going to let you take some questions because we did a really good demo of this product. If anyone wants to see anything that they didn't see, let us know. We're happy to do that. You can control this camera with an Xbox controller. I might be able to set that up if you guys want to see that. But there's so many great things to do. We're going to keep you busy, says Outcast Matt. We're going to get some add-ons, keep you busy in the workshop there. Here's a question with Kenny. Does the built-in mic work over the NDI version as well?
Yes, it does. You will have the ability to adjust that, turn it off, all from as well as the echo cancellation, all from the web UI.
Tell us a little bit about these microphones. We talked all about video. Tell us about the audio side.
Yeah, so the camera features a dual microphone array. And what you'll find is that the NDI model allows you a lot more control over all of that, while the USB model is a little bit more automagic, mainly because we just felt like it was kind of two user groups going on here. But that being said, these have been tuned for rooms that can accommodate, 6 people in them, 8 people in them without a problem. You get beyond that, you're going to start hearing that you're not really close to the camera, but it should be more than enough for anybody who's sitting, within a couple feet of this thing to be heard as if they had a nice mic right up in front of them.
Yeah, and the other thing, that reminds me, because I just used this camera for a little alumni college get-together on Zoom. It was a lot of fun. Everyone was really excited to see the zooming and the panning, I have to say. But it also has a very wide-angle lens. So you can be close to this camera and still see. I mean, you guys saw in our demo, I mean, I could touch it And you can see it's got how much? It's like 104-degree field of view.
Yeah, I think it's 108. I'd have to
108.
double check, but I think it's 108.
So it's basically like a webcam on steroids. You know, it's going to make people expect more from the webcam experience.
And let's state that's 108 horizontal field of view, not diagonal like you'll see on a lot of these.
I know, and we're not going to say who, but there are major webcam manufacturers that are very misleading by saying the horizontal field of view, which, you know, we use vertical, which is a lot more applicable to what you're going to get.
We use horizontal. They're giving you diagonal.
Yeah, so it's the difference between, well, I will say a lot of LCDs are measured in diagonal, so it makes sense from that perspective. But from a camera perspective, the horizontal gives you a much better feel for what you're actually going to get. But it's so wide. I was just sitting with my wife on a couch. You could see the whole couch, my dog, my wife, me and her, and then we could zoom in and just look at us. And, you know, this is something from a power user. If you're a power user, if you really care about, you know, your Zoom calls, your live streams, your conferences, doing this extra functionality for only $499 could make the difference. Here's another question that Yankee is asking: how much better does the NDI version look versus the USB version?
I find them very comparable to each other. As long as you're using the ideal NDI settings, you're letting the USB 3 actually come in as true USB 3. You're going to find a very similar looking solution here in the end, as there's very little compression being applied to the USB when truly going over USB 3. And you'll find that the way that NDI works its magic makes that HX stream look absolutely incredible. I really haven't been able to discern much difference between the two images.
Here they are here next to each other. You can see they've got that clamp mount, which is good if you're doing a video conference. You want to put it right on top of your laptop, but you can easily take this off the clamp mount, put it on a tripod. And that's something I think a lot of people who want to be more flexible, use the camera for video conferencing one day and then live streaming the next, is really going to be helpful. So next question we have here: is the HDMI output adjustable for 4K or 1080?
Yes.
Why don't we go ahead and show that? Mr. Mustachio is saying it's a wicked deal. It really is an interesting how you were able to build these. Both these cameras are the same price, by the way. A lot of times NDI cameras are more expensive than USB cameras. Matt was able to get the same price for both of these. And let's go into the live preview real quick, Michael. I'll show them how to switch from 1080 to 4K and back and forth. So let's see here. Outcast is teasing me. Question for Matt Davis: any other crazy projects that you're working on that you can speak of? What is your favorite Wally song?
No, we've got some cool control projects that'll be coming out, and that's about all I can say about them. Favorite Wally song? I don't know about a favorite Wally song, but my favorite episode by far is At the Beach. I just love that episode. It was fantastic.
So in the settings here, you can see that there's this HDMI format. I know it's a little tough to see there, but on HDMI, you can switch from 1080 to 1080i 60 to 4K 30, 1080p 30. So this does not support broadcast frame rates.
No.
I've been keeping it on 1080p 30. I don't know why, but we certainly can do 4K 30. And there you go. So it is a true 4K USB version, true 4K HDMI version. Just 5 minutes left with Matt Davis. Matt, you are going to join the chat, I believe, to hang out with some of these folks who might have more questions for you.
Might need a link for it, but yes, definitely.
All right, I will send you the link. Teradek is coming up next. Teradek actually has some interesting wireless PTZ camera products that John Landman's going to show us from California. Yeah, I mean, we've been talking for a while. We did, you know, it's a webcam, right? So it's like, it is easy to get across what it does. And, you know, like I said, just a final touch here again, Ethernet on one side, USB and HDMI on the other. I'm going to flip these around like this to show them off again here without dropping them. There we go. In fact, Michael keeps pointing to me. Oh, we lost the NDI camera. Oh no, it's never coming back now. It's behind the display. Jeez, Michael, see what you do to me. All right, so this is the USB version. I'm gonna have to fish. Let's see if I can get this thing. Oh man, this is gonna be tough. Is that covered under the warranty, Matt? I got it. I got it.
Maybe for you, Paul. Maybe for you.
I got it. Oh gosh, this one has been through a little bit now. But again, no moving parts, right? These things are durable.
Exactly.
They really are really nice. And last thing I'll show here, I guess, well, we have just 3 minutes left. You got the dual microphone array. So one microphone, two microphone. They're beamforming. What is beamforming, Matt? I've been meaning to ask you that.
Yeah, so really it's where you're taking both of these microphones and you can actually use data to figure out where the source is coming from and actually adjust the microphones to try and pick up the best possible signal.
Yeah, that is, oh, got some more questions coming in. I guess we have time. Can you tell us, Matt, can you work with the Elgato Stream Deck SDK to make the native buttons for PTZOptics and HuddleCam? That is something I really think we should do.
Yeah, we have started looking into that. Obviously, it's another thing on the roadmap here for us, is we definitely think that is an amazing solution that they've created there. At the moment, why am I blanking? Is it Companion is the middle app that allows a lot of this integration in the middle? And with our
BitFocus Companion.
BitFocus Companion does allow a lot of these operations that we don't currently support natively within Stream Deck. And then the other thing is their HTTP commands that you can set up on there. I think they call them URL, is an easy way to make these calls to any of our IP-based cameras. That being said, it is something we're exploring because I do think they've made a really exciting platform there.
Kenny Hampton's asking, is the NDI model PoE?
Yes, definitely.
That is good. Mr. Mustachio will take the dropped one.
Good call.
Let's see here. All right. Well, Matt, I think we did it. We'll stick around, everybody. We have TerraDeck coming up next in just about a minute. So, Matt, I'm going to send you that link to that Zoom call. If you guys want to chat with Matt in the private Zoom conference, you know where to go. You can ask Tess for the password is Mr. Robot. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. So you can chat with Matt in that Zoom conference. We'll see you guys soon, okay?